Guys, it's John, National Sports Entertainment, and let's talk Skull and Bones for a little bit. It's very interesting because I noticed Pi, and I did my video, and this is another reason I always tell people if they join the Discord. I always try and get the alpha out. I wind up doing my Patreon videos, my Discord, later in the night, and I noticed it was Skull and Bones Day today, and I posited this theory out there, and a lot of people saw, Steven and many others, Big Z, he's referring to Colorado, not Yale. But anyway, with the 3-2-2-1, you could see a lot of people in here just kind of saying, it kind of makes sense. So, of course, it reaffirmed to me that they might just go ahead and pull it off, especially again, being a 13 seed playing a 4 seed. I'm going to go into that myself. So, so they almost did score 76. That was pretty crazy. But you can see we have a nice think tank in here. And what happens is we kind of noticed the same thing. This game was ridiculous. Yale, it was one, I couldn't watch it because I was like, okay, I can suspend my disbelief, but this team's not going to win. They're outmatched, outclassed. And that's what Neverfuse is saying here. They just completely screwed Auburn. But you can see right here, Big Z, I love, this is what I mean when I say I don't go into the gematria, but I let other people cover it because they do it better than me. He goes into the history here, all the different aspects that go into this, the numerology, I'll post that in a second. I think I have Nebraska winning. But yeah, you could just see the 7-6s all over this game. And not just the 7-6s, but you see Auburn 7-6. Oh, the guy did predict 7-6. Good prediction, Big Z. But what I found interesting was the Pi. You had 4-1-3 with the rankings, right? It was a 13-point spread. It was a 141.5 over/under, and you tie that in with 322 day, and I just feel like I wanted to use this as my example because so many people throw gematria out for every game, and I think it exists. I do, but a game like this, it just seemed very, very obvious. So a lot of people in the Discord called plus 600. I didn't. Again, you see, I posted at like 3 a.m. There's a lot of times that happens. I'm up late at night looking through some stuff. And then I realize, oh shit, it's 322. And then, the kind of clicks, we talk about it in the Discord. But, yeah, I just feel like it's been, so far my bracket's not great. I had Kentucky winning, going as far as the Final Four but they got booted. But a couple things I'm noticing. Colorado, I think we're on to something there. I said that the play-in seed's going to go pretty far. And I'm going to go a step further now. Because now they're not matching up Colorado. They conveniently match up with Oakland. I think Colorado is going at least to go to the Elite Eight, maybe the Final Four. So, plus 750 was the odds for the Elite Eight, but they just won. So it's probably going to move to like plus 500 for the Elite Eight. I still think that's a great grab. I just don't see why people wouldn't. I don't see why they wouldn't have Colorado go far. I think they want to really show fighting for the play-in and all these different things. But again, this video is more for people that want to tell me it's not scripted. I'm sure a lot of people, like whether on Twitter or whatever the case may be, watched the game, and it was ridiculous. The fouls against Auburn were so tedious, and I'll take it. There's so many times I'm trying to explain to people, look, 25-19, it was actually way worse than that. They got hit with the technical, they got a guy ejected, one of their best players got ejected. But I try and explain to people, like, it's not like I don't have skin in the game. I have skin in the game for Auburn to get screwed. I would like to see them get screwed here because obviously 650 is a nice payout, and I dropped a little bit on Yale. But I'm going to be honest, and it was just so ridiculous. So referees can do it, but players have to do it too. Auburn's conveniently turning the ball over at the end. Suddenly they can't stop Yale when they were completely locking them down. I've seen some pretty bad games. This might be one of the most egregious ones I've seen. As far as a team that is clearly outclassed, just being handed a victory. And that's what I mean when I say all sides are in on it. You look at the Colorado-Florida game, that coach doesn't get a technical foul. You can argue they're going to overtime. So there's a lot that goes into it. It doesn't change my bracket too much. I still like Arizona to win the whole thing. I like Kansas to advance. You can see they're underdogs here, so you're getting pretty good odds. I'll put out, as I always do, tonight on my picks. I'll go through how we did for the Patreon folks. We luckily Colorado came through big time. Again, I made them for 8 units. I don't usually do that, but it was worth taking in my opinion because they really just made no sense to lose. It was a pick 'em. They're underdogs, and like they should be underdogs, but it was a pick 'em, and having the play-in team go far just makes sense. So I always want to go into that. Yeah, not much has changed on my brackets. You know, you look at some of these games, and the lines are a little suspicious. Michigan State looks a little suspicious, but they've been playing good. Oh, Oakland drew NC State. So is Yale going to play the winner of that game? Or, I'm not sure. I thought Yale played Oakland for some reason. I thought that was the bracket that I did. But anyway, it'll be interesting. So I just wanted to go into that. I still have Arizona winning the whole thing. I think Kansas will go far. I think at this point, UConn obviously has to go far. I think I had them in the Final Four, so that's not changing. Really, Kentucky's the one that surprised me. And I think they're both coming out. I don't know if they're both out of the South because they have the regions all messed up. But if they are, I like Colorado to be that last team to make the Final Four. I just think it makes a lot of sense. So, again, if you want to put money on Colorado for the Final Four Elite Eight, I think that's good. Colorado and Yale really jumped out at me. I don't think Yale will doing anything else. I genuinely think this was just for, 322 day because, again, they like their symbolism, and UConn also won by like a freaking ridiculous spread, so it's pretty interesting. So, yeah, I'm sure a lot of people might have noticed it, but to me, it just can't be a coincidence. It just can't be a coincidence when you have all these numbers combining, and you see how most of the higher versus lower seeds went. Marquette blew out Western Kentucky, Baylor blew out Colgate. I understand we got Oakland yesterday. Clemson blew out New Mexico, UConn blew out, and the only one the upset we get is Yale. And then the other one that you would call an upset would be a Colorado because they're play-in, again, lower seed, all that stuff. So yeah, I'm curious what people think. I'm curious if other people caught up, to the 322 deal. But to me, it was all very, very interesting. So, as far as my bracket, if you haven't seen that video, I just did that one last. So, again, nothing really changed from my bracket video. It's going to be the same as far as, I have Kentucky. Obviously, they're eliminated. So, I'm just going to say Colorado in their place. I'm pretty sure they're in the same region. I don't know that much about college. But, again, the one major thing that I've noticed is I think Colorado is going to make a deep run here. Miami Heat-esque. And I went into that a couple times just because they're an exciting team. You got the Dion effect. That was also brought up in the Discord. A few people noticed that. They said, Dion, you could have the basketball program do pretty good, and people are going to be really hyped going into the football season, all that. So I think Colorado makes sense. I don't know who they play next, but I think they'll win that game too. And then, as far as tomorrow, like I said, I post all my picks nightly on the Patreon because the deal is a lot of games I have a team winning, but I'm not too sure on the cover, or I just like the over-unders, Like, for example, I think Creighton's going to win. I'm not sure if they cover. Although, here's an interesting one. Creighton's playing their old coach, so you might get some redemption. So I'll have to look more into that. But yeah, I haven't seen... I don't watch much college basketball, and I know it's pretty egregious. And you can let me know if I'm wrong. But I have not seen a game as, in my opinion, blatantly rigged as this Yale versus Auburn game. I mean, Auburn could not catch a break. Yale waited till the last second to somehow win. Their team is garbage. They really are. They just got completely outplayed. And they weren't even able to pass the ball. They were turning it over left and right. And then that just kind of went to a screeching halt. And Auburn, anytime there was a loose ball, anything like that, there was a foul called on them. So I think we can use this, and it'll really help us going forward. Again, there's not a lot of things I'll use Gematria for, but on Skull and Bones Day when Yale's playing, and the numbers are riddled with pi, even look at the first half, 4-1-3-4, right? It just makes me think that I give credence to the Gematria. I just think it could go both ways, but in this case, it's kind of hard for it to go both ways, right? 322 really only lines up with one of these two schools, so I hope a bunch of people caught on that. I'm not sure what the other people are saying. I have to imagine a few other people that specifically cover Gematria must have noticed this on 322. So for those that did, good job. Again, I always encourage people to, and it's not a plug, it's just because it's the truth. Whether it's on the membership site or my Discord, that's where I'm always posting my stuff later in the night. So I've had more time to think about things. Sometimes, as you can see, it's like 2 in the morning. I'll put out a post on one of them and just kind of brush people up. I can't always get every pick, every live pick, or every pick that I notice, unfortunately out there. But I try and do my best. But yeah, we're having a decent bracket so far. Some of our teams lost, but for the most part, we're doing well. We got some upsets, and I think it'll continue. Obviously, some of these matchups are going to be different than what I had because different teams won. So I had Gonzaga, Kansas meeting up, and Michigan State, North Carolina. But I think I had Iowa State meeting up at Drake instead of Washington State. So a couple of these are going to be different, of course, but for the most part, you can go to my bracket to see like who I like and how far I like them to go. And we will be going into the NBA. Let's see, we got a decent bit of games tomorrow, and there's nothing really jumping out at me. You can see like no game here is too entertaining, but a lot of ones with playoff ramifications. You got the crappy Hawks here. They're going to get that last play-in seed. And our prediction of Warriors and Lakers both playing in the play-in is looking more and more realistic every day. Not only that, but I got a lot of flack when I said it was going to be the Suns and the Mavs with the 7 and 8 seed. And it's looking like there's a really good chance we get that as well. So, maybe the Spurs get a nice upset tomorrow. I don't know. But I think the Kings are going to edge out the Suns. And I think the Suns, it just makes sense, doesn't it? Suns, Mavs, Lakers, Warriors as your play-in teams. I don't see why they wouldn't do that. So, we're seeing a lot of narratives pick up. Again, this is the same. We're on the road to WrestleMania. The NBA's got a copy. The March Madness has to copy. I don't think it's a coincidence they all go to their championships the same time we're going to get WrestleMania. So I always pay attention to that. So it should be pretty interesting. And like I said, I'll be doing a live video on the NBA pretty soon. We'll be covering the playoffs. I'll do like a final bracket. And not much has changed, like I said, as far as who I like. I like the Celtics on the East. I know some think they're obvious. I disagree. I think you can argue the Bucks are obvious. And then from the West, the Clippers. I just think you can watch my last couple of videos covering the NBA playoffs, why I like these two teams. I just think they make a lot of sense. So I know a lot of people like the Lakers. A lot of people are talking about how, LeBron, he's going to get his 5th. And I think he will, but like I keep saying, I think the 5th's going to be with his son. So there's a lot of narratives to go into. But you can just see, in my opinion, just the blatant scripting. Watching that Duke game was ridiculous. It was like one of those games where I'm like, they're playing so bad, I don't want to watch this game. But I also felt comforted. I was like, the fact that they're not losing by 50 is very revealing. The fact that it was a 4-point game with like... Here's another thing. If you ever go onto the live Vegas lines... And again, I posted this in my Discord, but there's not much I can do video-wise because it'd be impossible. They changed the line so quick. Riddle me this. How is Yale plus 550 when they were down 7 with 3 minutes, but they were plus 650 going into the game? There's no way they shouldn't have been a bigger underdog. You're talking like a couple minutes left, and you're down multiple possessions. It's not like it was a 3 or 4 point game. They're down 7. They didn't have the ball. And I'm like, Vegas has them at plus 550. This doesn't make any sense. Like, they come in 650. And then at the same time, Florida was playing Colorado. Florida was down by less of a margin with the ball, like 6 points. And they're getting like plus 700. So Vegas really gives away a lot. So I kind of want to just cover more of I always go into the narratives, obviously. There's really no narratives here. It's more just going into how sneaky Vegas is, how I do believe they use gematria. And if you jump on some of these lines live, then you can do a really good job. And again, one narrative that I do like, and you're still going to be getting really good odds to take, you can either take Colorado to go to the Final Four and get like plus 1,000 even now, because they were 1,800, I think. And 750 for the Elite 8 is very, very... I think it's short. I think they should be getting like 1,200 for the Elite 8. Now that 750, like I said, is going to change the 5. But my point being, you can take them to win the Final Four. and then just fade them if you want to, or hedge, I should say, in their Elite Eight matchup. But you don't know what kind of numbers that like what the line's going to be, so you might be taking a small risk there. So yeah, I'll be going into more of that. Like I said, I kind of covered pretty. I did 3 videos on the bracket, and each video I did 2, and there was no sound, so I had to do it a third time. I went into it when I posted it, so it took me a while to get that one video out. I wanted to cover more of college, but I did go into that video. Of the one thing that I picked up on was the play-in team, and I really think the play-in team's going to make a run. I think they're going to win at least one more round. We were wrong about FAU. San Diego State did win, but Florida Atlantic didn't. I should have known both. Might have been a little obvious, but it does look like we're going to get that UConn San Diego State rematch. So that one, I'm thinking UConn is going to be a win, no cover. Just a guess. Kansas Sanford was another one. That one I don't know if I posted on YouTube, but it was screamed win, no cover. I even said it was probably going to be. I said 72-68 or something. My score wasn't that close, but it was a 4-point game. So I feel like with a lot of these, we can glean what's going to happen based off of the Vegas lines mixed with just the talent level of the two teams to see if they're traps or not. So yeah, a very, I would say, exciting day in college basketball. Colorado, Duke both got it done. Or I always mix up Duke and Yale. I think a lot of people might. But yeah, Yale and Colorado both got it done. And Colorado, I feel like, again, is a story. Yale, I just feel like was a statement. You know, again, for people that say there is no symbolism, maybe it was a coincidence. Had this been a different type of game, I would say, okay, it's not a coincidence. But just the fact that, again, it was riddled with pie, and they looked absolutely awful, and then they somehow found a way to win, really makes me think that there's no way it's not a coincidence. Actually, if you look at the first and second half, you have the first 5 digits of pi. 3, 1, 4, and 1, 5 is all, you know, it just, I noticed all 3s, 4s, and 1s really in the spread. The tip-off again was 4-15. It was all very interesting. Now, unlike the Gematria Goons, I'm not going to say I know what that means, because I don't. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, you know, this guarantees this, or this means this for sure. I really don't know what it means, but I do know it's not a coincidence when we have the same numbers popping up left and right. So yeah, decent start to the bracket. You know, the Kentucky upset, I don't think many people saw coming. Maybe I should have looked more for one crazy upset, but that's all right. I didn't have them winning anyway. And Arizona, I still see a lot of people sleeping on them. Not many people have Arizona going all the way, so I think they're a solid choice. Still getting good odds on Arizona if you want to drop on them. But yeah, I really wanted to get this out because as the days progress, obviously, Colorado's odds are going to get shorter and shorter. And you're still looking at pretty good odds to get the Elite Eight, so I would definitely look into that. So yeah, that's about it. I didn't really see many of the other games. I saw the ridiculous ending to both Colorado, I just saw pop up on my TV. It was like 100, 100, 1 second left, 102, 100. Yale, I was kind of flipping back and forth, and I'm like, how are they in this game? I have to see how they're in this game, and I'm watching, and I'm seeing the foul calls, I'm seeing the turnovers, and just ridiculous buffoonery. You know, that unfortunately for Auburn fans befell them. So yeah, a good pickup by everyone in the Discord. And like I said, that's the reason I made it. I try and make it more like a think tank, and I just think the more people contributing definitely helps. So usually the Discord bat's pretty high, I would say, and I appreciate everybody in there because you definitely reassured me. You know, I was like, I think it might be a little obvious, and then others were like, the numbers are lining up. There's something odd about this game. Everyone kind of noticed the same kind of feel, and of course they're going to pretend it was completely natural. I'm curious how many people, like I said, I know on Twitter people were not happy with the officiating, so it'll probably all fall on the officials. But either way, it's, in my opinion, very interesting. So yeah, I'll be probably tomorrow morning sometime, I'll do a video going into the NBA games. It's not really a great, fun NBA schedule, but as you guys know, I don't pick fun games. I go with games that I think profit is to be made, games that look like traps, games where I just don't know why the spread is the way it is. You know, this one, there's nothing jumping off the page. Celtics Bulls looks a little trappish if I'm being honest, and there's a few others, but yeah, I'll be going into all that. So, as I always say, take care and happy earnings.